What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Panthers Advice. Today, man, we're going to get our first look at the 2024 Panthers. We're going to see some camp highlights. We're going to talk about some breaking news. And we're also going to go over why Dave has 50 running backs on this team, man. Let's jump into it. So the first thing we're going to go over is the running back situation and what is Dave's reasoning. So right down here, he says, I really feel like we need all of these guys. There's been several years where we used our practice squad running backs as well. It's the guys that can do more than just the offensive part. Do they give us value on special teams? Rashad Penny is another guy that can return kicks. He's done that in his career, so bringing him in to really push the group, but also he knows the language. He knows how to run certain run types, so as he gets his reps, the guys will be able to see the pace that we're looking for. And this goes back to what I've been saying about Rashad Penny. I know some of you guys, like I said before, aren't big fans of him, right? Because he does have a long history of being hurt. But Dave is bringing in guys to basically set the pace, the expectations that he's looking for. And Rashad Penny, if you go look at the clip I did of him, he's got some moves. I haven't really seen a back like that in Carolina. Well, obviously since McCaffrey, right? But since after McCaffrey, Rashad Penny's got some moves, man. Don't sleep on him. Let's keep it going because the next thing we're going to look at is going to prove my point even further. Dave is trying to set the pace. Take a look at this article right here. So today, Dave went out and signed another defensive player. This was a linebacker, Cam Gill from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And where did Dave come from? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Dave is bringing in his guys, and he's saying, all right, here's the expectations. Obviously, Dave is an offensive guy, but he obviously watched Cam and Tampa Bay and saw something there. He's not just going to bring somebody over because he likes him. No, he saw him there. He saw him probably bust his butt, because that seems like the kind of guy Dave is. So I like this right here. Brings in Cam Gill from Tampa Bay. Also signs another defensive lineman, TJ Smith, 6'3", 300 pounds. They're really trying to anchor that defensive line. But anyways, back to Cam real quick. He brings in Cam. He brings in Penny. He's brought in a couple other guys too, as far as players and coaches. Dave isn't playing around. He's really setting the pace right here, and he's showing everybody, all right, these guys are going to lead the way. Either follow them or get left behind. I like it right here, man. Now let's check out some clips from the 2024 Panthers, man. So the first person up on this clip has got to be Big X right here. Now, with that being said, I got to remember kind of temper my expectations a little bit. Right? Because last year I was pretty high on Mingo, only to find out that Frank did not know how to use Mingo at all, right? I don't think anybody on that team meshed, to be honest. I mean, Hubbard did pretty good, but with that being said, we saw Dave. He brought in Penny. He brought in Cam Gill today, and I'd like to believe that he sees something in X. He sees something in him fitting that system along with meshing well with Bryce. I've got high hopes. I did last year, and obviously those fell flat. But again, I kind of want to temper my expectations a little bit, but obviously Xavier, man, he looks good. Let's see what else is coming. Next up is potentially the future of the Carolina Panthers. You got Sanders and you got Jonathan Brooks right there, and Mr. Andy Dalton. I think Andy Dalton has kind of embraced more of this backup role. I remember last year an article came out how he still wants to start, but to me it seems like he's almost come to peace with being Bryce's mentor. And he's getting a pretty good paycheck just for being the backup quarterback. Let me know what you guys think of that, but if you look right here, you got Sanders and Jonathan Brooks, potentially the Panthers' future, man. I like to look right here. Let's see what else is next. So up next, we got Mr. Sullivan right here. All right, we're going to get to this in a second. Right here is a safety, Nick Scott. And then after him is going to be Ian Thomas. Now, we're going to pause it right here because we got to look at this. All right, when it comes to tight ends, we've got Trimble, we've got Sanders, we've got Ian Thomas, we've got Sullivan, we've got Jordan Matthews. Now, Matthews is on a street free agent deal. For those of you who don't know what that is, this explains it for you right there. I'm going to let it sit right here so you guys can read it. Then we're going to go back and look at the depth chart. Take a couple seconds real quick. All right. Pause it if you need to. Let's look at the depth chart real quick. All right. Let's take a look at this. When it comes to tight ends, like I said before, we've got 5 on the roster. And I want to put this into perspective for you guys. For some of you who don't believe the team was bad last year, when the Panthers were running an RPO slant, right, they were using Sullivan as their slant guy. That's how bad the team was last year, or that's what the coaches thought was a good decision. Our tight end over all the receivers we had last year, and we were using our tight end Sullivan. Now, I'm not saying Sullivan isn't an athlete, but for a slant route, RPO slant, probably a 2-3 yard cut, we were using our tight end. Just to put into perspective how bad the team was last year or how bad the coaching was. Just for some perspective. Now, obviously, come the 53-man roster, one or two of these guys is getting cut. Tremble's staying. Sanders is obviously staying. Who was that third guy going to be? Is it going to be Sullivan? Is it going to be Matthews? Is it going to be Ian Thomas? Because it seems like Dave potentially wants to run the ball a pretty good amount as well. So maybe you keep Thomas because Sullivan and Matthews are more of an athletic tight end, which you already have with Tremble and Sanders. We'll see what happens. I think Thomas is a good run blocker, but when it comes to catching, I'd much rather have Sullivan or Matthews. Let me know what you guys think. On top of that, we will be going over all these receivers as well. Stay tuned for that, man. Let's keep this clip going. Next up on the clip, we got Hubbard and Bryce Young. Now, this duo I'm excited for this year. Last year, Dave was using Rachaad White, the Bucs running back, and Baker Mayfield. To me, Hubbard is a bigger Rachaad White. Tampa Bay Bucs running back. I think Hubbard's just a bigger guy. Rachaad White's good, but I think Hubbard is a little bit more physical, good hands too. So I'm excited to see how Dave can use him. On top of that, they got Jonathan Brooks coming in, and then the other 10 running backs. So I think Hubbard is going to have an even better year this year than he has in the past. And I hope Dave gets him out in space. Whenever we've seen Hubbard run the last couple of years, it's always been a downhill runner. He's going to lower that shoulder. He's going to pop somebody. But I think he can be just as explosive in space, get him to the outside. I hope Dave does that this year, man. Let's check out what else we got. All right, next clip is going to be newly signed free agent cornerback Dane Jackson. Right here, I believe, is VL, linebacker. And then we have Mr. J.C. Horn. So let's talk about our 1-2 corners real quick before we see this Bryce Young throw. So we've got Dane Jackson right here, and we have J.C. Horn. Those are going to be our first and second string cornerbacks. Not bad. Assuming that J.C. Horn can stay healthy. He might be worse than Rashad Penny. I'm going to be honest. He might be worse when it comes to injury history. I mean, it is bad. Now, if J.C. can somehow stay healthy, then, man, the Panthers defense is going to be looking pretty good because we haven't had that the last couple of years, right? If he can stay on the field and almost take away that half, that quarter, man, they're going to be looking good. You got Dane Jackson. We got Troy Hill as the nickelback. You got Jordan Fuller you brought in. Xavier Woods, another year back. Not a bad secondary, but it all comes down to J.C. Horn somehow staying healthy. The front seven can be as dominant as ever, but if the secondary is getting beat, it doesn't matter. It just, it doesn't matter. They're just going to come out, trips, quads, right? Maybe 5 receiver set, because if the Panthers don't have anybody that can cover anybody, we're screwed. So obviously there's still a bit of frustration right there. Hopefully he can stay healthy, man. Let's take a look at Bryce Young right here. Well, not yet, but take a look right here. Bryce Young throwing to Mr. Adam Thielen, his go-to boy last year. Hopefully Xavier can take some of the pressure off Adam Thielen. And Adam Thielen might have the same year that he had last year with less catches. Because if you look at the film, teams were bracketing Adam Thielen, right? So I talked about the slant routes with Sullivan being our guy there. That was bad in itself, but then teams were bracketing Adam Thielen, forcing Bryce to go somewhere else, and there was nowhere else for Bryce to go. Teams were bracketing and double-teaming Adam Thielen. Now, Adam Thielen's good, don't get me wrong, but he's 30-plus now, and they knew that was Bryce's only target. So hopefully, X can take the pressure off, Deontay Johnson can take the pressure off, Brooks can take the pressure off, Sanders can take the pressure off. Hopefully somebody can help Adam Thielen out because, man, last year was rough. Let's check out our last clip. I'm excited about this team. Now, obviously, injuries seem to be a big concern for me, whether it's Brooks, whether it's J.C. Horn. Those are two big players right there. Now, with that being said, I think Hubbard can do a pretty good job in Dave's offense. But obviously he wanted Brooks. Brooks is a hell of a back. And then J.C. Horn, we didn't really go out and get a lot of secondary help. So that does concern me a little bit. You know, you bring in Fuller, we bring in Jackson. That's good. Troy Hill, another year back. But we didn't get a lot of secondary help. So hopefully J.C. Horn can stay healthy. Otherwise, we might be scratching our heads a little bit. But that's going to wrap it up. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts on the current 2024 Panthers. And what other moves would you guys like to see them make before the season starts? We're, a couple months away? So I'm excited for that. I think we're a few months away, actually. But stay tuned. More content coming soon. I'll catch you guys on the next one.